Hi LinkedIn. So wanted to talk a little bit about how I became an instructional designer and how my roots in the Army cultivated that interest to kind of help me get to where I am today. So if you're familiar with the military, you kind of start out as a basic soldier, airman, marine, sailor, coastie, and you learn your job, but you start to take on increasing levels of responsibility, and eventually you kind of take on other positions. So one of those positions I had was as an instructor. So I actually had redeployed back from Iraq and was in Germany and got orders to go to Fort Knox, Kentucky in 3 months to do. I had no idea what it was, but when I got there, they were saying, "Hey, you're going to go to the schoolhouse. You're going to be an instructor." So I was like, "What?" So I went. I actually had to take the course myself. It was a 3-week small unit reconnaissance tactics course. It was called the Scout Leaders course. So I had to attend the course successfully and then go to an instructor training course to become a certified Army instructor. And then I was able to get into the classroom and kind of shadow along with more experienced instructors and eventually assume my own classroom. So what we did is we took officers and senior NCOs and put them into a 3-week small unit tactics course and taught them advanced reconnaissance. So we start them out in the classroom, and then we move into like a tabletop exercise where they learn to apply a little bit of what they're learning. They're getting evaluated along the way, and then at the end culminates in a field exercise where they're supposed to put it all together under realistic, difficult training conditions. And the grading criteria was pretty strict. I mean, not everyone that attended graduated. Not to say that we were trying to weed people out, but if you weren't meeting the standard, then you weren't going to finish the course, and that did happen. But what I really enjoyed about it was afterwards, when I would run into some of these officers and NCOs out in the force, they're like, "Man, that was tough. You guys were just, you know." But what I really learned, and I was able to take that to my scout platoon, so that was like, man, that was really rewarding. Just kind of helping shape the careers of young officers and NCOs, because at that point we were still heavily involved in Iraq and Afghanistan. So it was very important for us to kind of make sure that we were sending our leaders forward with as much knowledge that they could have, and hopefully get through their deployment and bring their scout platoons home. So fast forward a few years, and then I'm remembering this, like, man, like how do I get back to that? Like, I want to be an instructor. Like, how do I get into training? So I started asking questions of people who were around me who were trainers, and then they would point at me in one direction. I speak with someone and speak with someone else, and I just kept asking questions like, how do I get into this? Like, how do I do it? Eventually, I was told that maybe you should be an instructional designer. We have a department that does all that. And like, how do I do it? And it was suggested that I go to grad school and study it. Now I'm here to tell you, you don't need to go to grad school to be an instructional designer. I know plenty of really good instructional designers that don't have a master's, and they've just been doing it, and they're really good at it, and I look up to them. But that was my route, and it kind of helped me get into the career field, and it helped me a lot. So I just wanted to kind of let you all know, like, if you're curious, like how I ended up where I'm at. I know that there are a lot of other veterans and military spouses that have maybe taken a similar path. So I'm curious to hear, like, how did you get here? How did you get to where you're at? Share your story a little bit. And if you are looking to enter into learning and development, what is your story? Like, what's your background? Like, how did we get you here? So definitely want to hear like your roots and your story, your background, and maybe we can help each other out. Like help bring some people along. So I hope everyone's having a great week, and stay safe and stay sharp.